Pete Buttigieg has gone what I'm going to call beast mode across multiple media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, CNN, about the texting leak that happened in the Trump administration that just came out earlier today. If you don't know, essentially Pete Hegseth and a bunch of administration officials were texting classified information about war plans on a texting app. Yeah. So there's your background. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through some of the responses on the right and some of the responses on the left. Pete Hegseth calling the leak deceitful and highly discredited. And let me tell you in a bit why that is wrong.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides.
Bro, we're not going to let this continue, because you know what? That it says right here, and this is true. The National Security Council confirmed The Atlantic's reporting. So what is he going on about Russia, and hoaxes? The National Security Council confirmed it. So, sorry, you're in trouble. Here is how Jesse Waters explained it.
Well, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz accidentally added a reporter to the group text, and not a good reporter. Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic, one of the biggest hoax artists around. Well, he heard some things he probably shouldn't have, but could have been a wee bit of a security breach. But it's not like they homebrewed a server and then bleached it, or kept classified documents in their garages next to their Corvette. I'm sure it won't happen.
Oh my gosh. First off, love that little job they do there. They put him next to Nancy Pelosi as if like he's not a reporter. Instead, he's somehow compromised because he was at an event where Nancy Pelosi was asked questions by him. Ridiculous. Secondly, this is totally different than the email thing and some boxes in a garage. First off, Trump did this shit, okay? Trump did this shit. And here, you know, we're actually going to go right to Pete Buttigieg right now, because he explains this so well. Pete Buttigieg explains, as a former cabinet member and as an intelligence officer, why this was bad.
Yeah, the whole point of classified information systems is to keep classified information on them. And by the way, I don't know everything about how Pete Hegseth's computers work, but I know this. In my experience, both in the cabinet and as an intelligence officer, you would have to go out of your way to take classified information and move it into an unclassified system. I don't know if a lot of folks understand how this works, but it's not like there's a computer where you might get an unclassified email and a classified email in the same inbox. They're not even the same computers. By design, it is very difficult for information to move from one system to the other unless somebody...
Yes. So in any other normal time, this would be super against the law. This would be like people getting fired immediately, resigning. It's not going to happen. But so many people were put into danger because of this. So many people.
President Trump, as you saw earlier, was saying he wasn't aware of this report. We're since told he's been briefed on it, but he reposted something that Elon Musk wrote earlier, kind of mocking all of this by making fun of The Atlantic. He wrote, "Best place to hide a dead body is page 2 of The Atlantic magazine because no one ever goes there." Trump reposted that earlier. Do you see that as making light of what has happened here?
Yeah, because this is all a game to them. You know, nobody in Donald Trump's family is on a ship in the Mediterranean. Nobody in Elon Musk's family is at risk from the kinds of economic or security harms that are going on here. They think all of this is a joke or a game because these are incredibly rich, powerful men who, frankly, don't have to worry about the kinds of things most Americans do. And look, This is part of a bigger pattern, right? The sloppiness and the incompetence, whether it's firing the people who were in charge of keeping our nuclear weapons safe, apparently by accident, and then scrambling to hire them back on, whether it's sending an email to try to buy out air traffic controllers in the middle of an air traffic control shortage, and then scrambling after a plane crash to say, oh, that never applied to them, whether it's that Doge site, their so-called wall of receipts, thinking that they were proving that they saved the taxpayer $8 billion with a B, not realizing that the contract they were talking about was $8 million with an M, which means they were off by 100,000%. And now this incredibly grave and serious matter of taking classified information about American battle plans involving American troops and randomly sending those battle plans to the wrong guy. If they don't understand the seriousness of that, then they don't understand how their jobs affect the lives of ordinary American people. And as an American, having the most powerful people in your country not take their responsibilities seriously can be lethal. You know.
Woo. Okay. He just. This is why I call Pete Buttigieg the verbal assassin, because he just cut them all up with his words. And now I want to show you what he put on social platforms for the broader audience, because the only people who watch CNN are 7-year-olds. No offense to the 7-year-olds watching me, but I'm just saying that you're not going to reach the mass on CNN. You are going to reach the mass on TikTok and Instagram. And here's what he said there. And I'm going to tell you, I've never heard Pete Buttigieg talk like this before. This is the first. Real quick, if you're liking this video, please hit like in the video. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. It does help boost this into the algorithm so more pro-democracy Americans can see it. Thanks so much.
Hey, it's Pete. I try not to jump in with a take on everything or comment on everything we see in the news of the day. But what we learned about today is truly incredible. The U.S. Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, the Vice President of the United States, and other very senior, very powerful Trump White House officials, it turns out, discussed highly classified war plans, not only on an unclassified channel, but accidentally and randomly, it seems, including a journalist. And to see this administration claiming that it cares about competence and merit, and then be responsible for an epic fuck-up like this, demonstrates that these are not serious people. I was an intelligence officer for about 7 years in the U.S. Navy Reserve, and I occasionally handled highly classified information during my time in the cabinet as well. It can be hard to explain just how much goes into keeping that information safe. It is only available to people with a security clearance and a need to know. It's only discussed in certain facilities that are hardened to make sure that they don't have the same vulnerability to surveillance as most places. And importantly, you only ever use classified systems to discuss classified information. So America needs answers on why an unclassified, commercially available app was used, and even more importantly, how some of the most powerful people in this country didn't know that they accidentally included a journalist while they were discussing classified war plans that they had yet to authorize and execute. This is not something that's just important for its own sake. I know Americans who lost their lives because of intelligence failures. This kind of intelligence failure calls the question on whether there is any place for merit or competence in this administration at all. Because if there are not highly serious consequences for this level of screw-up, then it will make clear that all of the bluster about merit that you hear about from this White House is just bullshit. We deserve so much better than this. It is getting clearer by the day that the people in charge of the American government cannot keep the American people safe. Got to do better.
Do you know how badly you have to mess up for Pete Buttigieg to say the F word online on all platforms? I mean, as someone said here, you know it's bad when Pete drops the F-bomb. I love that we're swearing now. When Mr. Pete uses fuck up in a sentence, you should probably be paying attention. So it truly is like hearing a swear word in church. Totally necessary. I'm glad he did it. And we'll end with this. Here's what Hillary Clinton had to say about this. You have got to be kidding me. Because as you know, this is one of the reasons why people felt like they couldn't trust Hillary Clinton, because she had some emails on a private server. None that had to do with war. And certainly she didn't invite someone to see classified information. So we're going to keep following this story. This is certainly not the end. I imagine this is going to be a big one. So let's just keep seeing where the follow it is. Definitely subscribe and like the channel just so you can keep up with the updates. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much.